We are the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Lake County. I'm Chris Cleveland, your service leader, and my pronouns are she and her. Welcome to those of you attending on Zoom today. We actually have a special Zoom guest, Ellen, from the Netherlands. She's very involved in trans work, and she introduced Bruce, one of our speakers today, to Transgender Day of Remembrance. So let's give them away. Thank you all. We have a few announcements this morning. Always, UU churches are very busy with lots of things, so bear with me. Our service is going to be recorded. Make sure your phone is silenced. There are many activities and meetings going on all week here at UUCLC and on Zoom, and you can find them listed in the weekly bulletin that you get in your email. And if you want to receive the weekly bulletin or monthly newsletter, you can email our office at office@uulakecounty.org or pick up a copy of the monthly newsletter in the narthex, which is the lobby, church words. I didn't know what a narthex was before I came here either. We also have a website and we're on Facebook and Instagram. And apparently today at about 5 o'clock, some of this will be on Facebook, some pictures from this event. If you want to attend a UUCLC orientation, there's a sign-up sheet in the narthex. And as soon as 4 or 5 people are signed up, they will set a date to have an orientation meeting. And attending orientation does not require that you become a member, it's just to orient you to our church. As our congregational covenant states, through service, we live our principles. So with service in mind, I want to share with you our volunteer need of the week. Our Lifespan Groups and Activities Committee is looking for someone to work with me this year in organizing our church's classes and events, and hopefully become a little more involved in that endeavor. So see me, Chris Cleveland, if you are interested in doing that. I also want to mention that DeLand is having a Transgender Day of Remembrance today at 5 o'clock in Sunflower Park. I want to mention about the potluck, the Thanksgiving potluck, a turkey dinner and all the trimmings, potluck style at 2 o'clock here. So you can see Chris Higgins if you wish to sign up. And that's Chris Higgins waving her hand with the kind of coral colored sweater on. Okay, I believe we have another announcement. Bernie, can you bring a microphone to Karen?
Good morning. Can you hear me? We're partnering with Love Extension and the Bay Lake Pharmacy with the Santa Love Seniors Program. And in the social hall today, I've set up a display where you can take a tag that has the name of the senior and the gift that they're requesting. Shop for them for Christmas. The program, they want you to definitely get the requested gift, and it's up to you if you want to add anything extra. Return the gift either wrapped or in a gift bag with the tag attached to the church by December 11th, and I will deliver them to Bay Pharmacy, who will deliver and they will then be delivered to the homes of the seniors and disabled in the community. Thank you.
Any other announcements? Karen.
I'm Karen also. The Social Justice and Environment Committee is sponsoring a holiday bring and buy on Sunday, December 4th after the service. So if you have items which are suitable for gifting to others, things you perhaps don't want, and that are appealing items, please bring them in. We'll set them out, and then the rest of us will all shop and make a donation to the Social Justice and Environment Committee's work. So I think it'll be fun.
And they are unwrapped so people can see what they are. Okay.
Yes, definitely. And also one last reminder to people about the survey on a congregation initiative, which the committee sent out a week or so ago. We're going to close that down fairly soon. So if you've been meaning to send in your ideas for a congregation initiative, please go ahead and complete the survey. The committee is Karen and Barb Merrill is on Zoom today, I see. And I will be going through the survey responses, and we will bring them to you during the discussion group on Sunday, December the 4th.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, Janine.
Another announcement by Janine.
In addition to the bring and buy on the 4th, we're also having our regular potluck. So it'll be a really fun day. We'll come, we'll eat, we'll buy, we'll get rid of stuff out of our house, and it'll be a lot of fun. So please remember.
Can we use a credit card or should we only bring cash? Oh, with the cash.
Okay, the question is credit card or cash for the exchange, and it's cash or check. Okay, and Glenn has an announcement.
I am so overjoyed.
Wait, we can't hear you.
So overjoyed with the turnout. Over 48 people here right here today. Big turnout. Nice. Thank you all very much. To have a big attendance, being able to say, we had 26 people in our study group this morning. We had a wonderful program. These people gave us a wonderful program. You're going to hear some of the same information today, I'm sure, but it was just, it's just lifting.
Yeah.
And remember, 9:30 next week, we're going to have a program, and I think it's Gray Skies. It has to do with the environment and how it's affecting nature and how it affects our lives and the way we live in our environment. Come back, 9:30 tomorrow, or not tomorrow, next Sunday. Thank you very much.
Time goes fast when you get old. Not that you're old. Our opening, oh, anybody else? Okay, thank you, assistant. Our opening words are by Kimberly Carlson. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You've been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there's a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in a shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share with others. And so you begin seeking a beloved, welcoming community. People that do not put fences around love. A community that holds its arms open to all possibilities of love. A home for your heart, where you can nourish your soul and share your gifts. Welcome home. Come, let us worship together. I want to start by giving you some background information about Transgender Day of Remembrance here at UU. Our church has a very interesting history. Back in 2007, at the General Assembly of our National UU Association, there had never before been a statement that mentioned transgender identity. But back in 2007, the UUA resolved the following. Be it resolved that the 2007 General Assembly affirms its commitment to the inherent worth and dignity of every human being, including transgender individuals. We further resolve to express this spiritual value through our employment practices, educational efforts, congregational life, and public witness, and encourage member congregations and societies to explore their communities' important differences between sexual orientation and gender identity. And I just to speak to that, I also belong to a UU church in Michigan, and our intern minister is a transgendered woman. So this just recently. UUCLC had TDOR, Transgender Day of Remembrance, events back in 2013 and 2014, and possibly a few other years. I received some of the information about those. Members Robin Kelly, Bill Herman, Royleen Millard, and Kit Tatum, bless her soul, provided the entire service with readings and rituals. We are really grateful for their foresight, more than a decade ago, and to thank them for building a strong foundation to help us learn about TDOR and to honor LGBTQ+ people today and in the future. So we have a history of this. We just need to continue it, and this will be an annual event from now on, if I have anything to say about it. Welcome to UUCLC. I am joined today by Katie Koehler and Bruce Cusic, who I will introduce them a little more later, but they're behind me here. We also have our talented pianist, Paulette, today. And back in the AV room, skillfully enhancing our service, are Dustin and Doug, I believe. Dustin for sure, yes. There are many more volunteers that help make this service really special. I won't mention everybody. UUCLC is an inclusive, non-creedal fellowship that works for a just community and fosters a lifelong search for personal spiritual fulfillment. Our congregation celebrates diversity of religious experiences and spiritual practices. We welcome you no matter your personal religious background, your age, your gender identity, your race or ethnicity, or your sexual orientation. Here, we honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person and every being. Here, we support one another in our searches for truth and meaning. We gratefully acknowledge that we are the stewards of the traditional lands of the Timucua Native peoples, whose ancestral homeland we humbly walk upon today. We are blessed with this land and honor our opportunity to strive to live our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all threats to the earth and her people, and to live out our dreams of a world community of peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we worship together this morning. All are welcome here, and a special welcome to our guests today. We're so happy to share this special day with you. If this is your first time here and you are comfortable doing so, please raise your hand so we can welcome you. Look at all the guests. Wow. Okay. We're really honored that you joined us today. The lighting of a chalice to begin our service is a tradition shared by UUs all around the world. I will ask Bruce to light our chalice this morning. We light our chalice flame for those who live their lives in closets of shame, for those who have been ridiculed that they may find peace, for those who have fought to marry that they may celebrate, for those who live in uncertainty in the world that they may have hope. We light our chalice flame to renew our commitment that no one shall ever again suffer for the right to love. For this we light our flame. Each Sunday, we make time for those who wish to offer a joy or concern or set an intention for the future. If you wish to share aloud your joy or concern, you may do so after we have done our silent stone ritual. You may come to the station up here in the front on this side or back in the back by the flags to place a stone or stones in the sand to represent your joy or concerns. Our silent stone ritual will now begin as Paulette plays. Is there anyone that would like to share aloud? Raise your hand. The microphone will appear.
Hello, this is Doug Walker, and I had previously announced a concern I had because I was having to move. My place where I live is shutting down. So I would like to, first of all, thank everyone who for their concern. I would also like to thank everyone that passed on a referral. I did follow up on those, but I have found a place. I don't actually transfer title until December 1st, but I think the crisis has been averted. So I,
Hi, I have both a joy and concern to express. First, the concern. My husband, last week I said he had the job interview. He had his job interview. They're going to make their decision this coming week. So continue those positive energies and vibes being sent in that direction, please. And the joy is I just want to share that I have two transgender or children who are transgender, my daughter-in-law and my son. And I love them so much, and it hurts me to think about the kinds of things they're faced with. And I wish we could live in a world where the problems that they go through didn't exist, but they do. And I love that in this place, in this church, we're actually celebrating the Transgender Day of Remembrance instead of it just being a blurb on the calendar that nobody really talks about.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have two concerns that are very topical. One, of course, is the recent legislation signed by the governor to restrict gender affirming care to trans youth. And hopefully that will be subject to legal challenge. It will not become law, but it can have devastating effects on trans youth who are sincere and authentic about their identity and could be denied the proper treatment as they grow. The second, which you may not be aware of, I happen to be Catholic, and in 2019, the Catholic Congregation on Catholic Education, which is a department of the Vatican, came out with a extensive document called Male and Female, God created male and female only, whatever. Anyway, so that particular document has been utilized by an increasing number of dioceses, Catholic dioceses throughout the United States, in order to restrict the attendance, participation, and life of transgender youth in Catholic schools, elementary schools, high schools. Basically, most of the policies say that if a young person wishes to attend a Catholic school and is transgender, they cannot attend school in their true identity. That they must be referred to under their name assigned at birth and the sex assigned at birth, gender assigned at birth. And there can be no conversation or any expression of their identity, their true identity in the school. And it also applies to the parents and teachers and allies and everyone associated with the educational process. And it's, as I say, a number of dioceses have been adopting these very restrictive policies, the latest being Diocese of Denver. And theirs basically says that if you're transgender, you cannot even attend the Catholic school, not attend at all. And if they find out that you are, there would be grounds for dismissal from the school. This is a growing, problem that a number of groups, Catholic groups that are LGBTQ Catholic groups, are attempting to, to reverse, but it's an uphill battle. And my concern, hearing this, the welcoming, inclusive, stance of this church is very reassuring. The Catholic Church obviously has a long way to go.
Yes.
And I remain Catholic, despite its position, because it's just I've been a cradle Catholic, and it's still where I identify. But any prayers and support that can be offered to counteract these very, very hurtful and dangerous and harmful policies of
Yes.
the Catholic school, particularly with respect to the education of our young people,
Thank you.
is welcome.
Thank you. Yes. And many people that come to this church are different religions. Some are atheists, and people can have whatever religious beliefs they wish. All right, is there anybody else that wishes to share aloud? I have a concern for, just this morning, I heard that in Colorado, there was a shooting at a gay bar. And I guess 5 people died and many more injured. And similar to what we had here at Pulse just 6 years ago. So it goes on. Need to keep fighting the fight and loving, not hating. If there is anyone that you would like to, that you have concern for, that you would like to mention, you may mention them aloud right now, all at once.
Dee Dee, Barbara, Debbie. Dorothy.
For all those things named, and for those things that are too tender to speak, we collectively hold them in the light of our compassion and the warmth of our community. Being mindful of the joys and concerns that have been shared, we will now enter into a quiet time of reflection, meditation, and prayer. And now I am pleased to introduce Koehler and Bruce Cusic, who are presenting our Transgender Day of Remembrance this morning. Katie is a transgender female and a retired letter carrier from New Jersey. Though she has only been transitioning since January of 2021, she is involved with several LGBTQ+ groups and believes that we who are blessed have an obligation to those who are struggling. Bruce currently serves on the board of directors. No, yes, anyway.
Kind of.
Kind of, does their communications for the Triangle Connection, an LGBTQ plus group in Lake County. He is a native of North Florida, and he spent most of his career living and working across the United States, China, and the Philippines in the call center industry as a director and senior VP. He and his husband retired to Lake County a few years ago and today call Ormond Beach their home. Katie will now tell us her personal story and a little bit about the history of TDOR.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here and be asked to do this. Bruce actually asked me back in March. So this has been something that's been in the works, and I don't know what it is. I can't say no to Bruce. I'm here today. I am blessed. I have a lot of friends here, people who have helped me out in this journey that I've been on. And, it's just, I'm in awe, and I'm almost speechless about that. And, so let's talk about something else. My least favorite subject, me. I was born in Long Island. I was actually born in the city and moved out to Long Island when I was 3 years old, and I was raised, in a normal lower middle class family and all. But from the time I was aware, I always knew I was different. I didn't like playing with the boys. I played with the girls most of the time. We had one family that lived over the fence in the backyard, two twin daughters that were a little older than me, and another gal that was my age. And, like school vacations and all like that, I wouldn't play with dolls, but we'd play, hopscotch, jump rope, ride bikes. The best thing was playing board games and all. And I hung around with most of the girls until I guess about fourth grade, when I went to a Catholic school for the one year that my parents sent any of us to a Catholic school, and was forced to be separated. Like I said, I felt I was different. There was something in my youth when I was about 7 years old, 6 or 7 years old. I remember going to my cousin's house, and he had a stack of comic books, and there was this one comic book that was, I don't even remember if it was Superman or Batman, but it was this guy who escaped from prison, and he was being chased down, and he stumbled into this cave. And when he was in the cave, he tripped over a rock and fell into this pool. And when he came out of the pool, he found that he could change himself into anything he wanted. And this recurring dream of mine, I was always a female, and I had it quite often, especially in my younger years. When I got to be my teenage years, it was a little, it started to slack off a bit. I grew up in the late 60s. Those were my formative years. It was a different world then. There was a lot of pressure to be an adult. And I just wasn't ready for it. But still, that didn't keep me from trying. I experimented, with males and females. And, the guilt of being with a male was just overwhelming and scarred me, actually. I hurt somebody emotionally, and it was something I had to deal with later in life. And I just basically shut down a little bit. I was always I was never really masculine, but I covered this up by doing masculine things. I got involved with working on race cars and stuff like that, but it was basically a mask I was wearing. In my mid-20s, I kind of dropped out of society. I worked in a bar on Fire Island for a couple of summers, and I went skiing in Lake Placid for a winter one year. And it was there. I met the love of my life. Little hippie chick, about so big, with hair down to her tail, and the brightest blue eyes you've ever seen. And I ended up following her back to New Jersey. Wanted to get serious on life, and we started a life together. I was on a long leash. She would let me do almost anything I wanted to. She was very understanding. She was just the greatest person I could ever find. But we were both shy. We were both introverted, and but we got along. It wasn't like we were identical. We complemented each other. My strengths, overcame her weaknesses and all. And so we started a life. We ended up getting married and having a couple of children. And all was right with the world, except that Katie felt that she was being left out. I worked all the time. My wife, raising children, wanted to stay home. It was more like a 50s household. And, in order to do that, I had to work every hour I could, which gave me a lot of free time because they would go away for weekends and all, and they would go on vacations, for a week. And, I was doing a lot of things. That's when I started cross-dressing more at home. And it was like I would accumulate something and purge. They call it purging, just get rid of it. The guilt would hit me and all like that. But the one thing that really struck me was that it just felt so natural. I was more comfortable. I felt more like I was supposed to feel. And, I wanted to keep that, but I couldn't. I didn't want to embarrass them and anything. And though I partied a lot during my life, that was when I started drinking way too much. And eventually, I found myself becoming a member of a 12-step program in Alcoholics Anonymous. At that time, I had purged twice, and so I started going to AA. And my wife ended up getting sick. She was diagnosed with dementia, moderate dementia. That was in 2007, and I could still work. I had to bring somebody in to keep an eye on her. And I could leave her alone for an hour and a half so I could sneak out to go to a meeting once a week, or twice a week. And, eventually she couldn't be left alone. She had to have somebody there. So I would come home from work, take care of her. And that was my life. I got away from the AA, and eventually I found myself in a hopeless situation. Once again, what I perceived to be a hopeless situation. And that was, why is this happening to me? My life is ruined. I'll never be anything. It's done. And I picked up. I started drinking again. And, the depression really set in and all. But fortunately, before anything tragic happened, I found my way back. I ended up going to a detox and a rehab. And that's where my life changed. I spent 89 days in a rehab. And when I came out, I asked a friend of mine to sponsor me in AA. His name is Fast Johnny, and he remains probably my closest friend outside a family member that I have. He's somebody that knows everything about me. And when I say everything, I mean everything. There's nothing I held back, even the one thing that I was going to take to my grave, nobody will ever know. I had to bite the bullet for that one, but it really changed my life. And then at that point, I realized I have to dedicate my life to taking care of my wife, Diane. And that's what I did. We ended up down here in Florida. Oh, actually, I started buying clothing again, and I dress around the house. And this is the last time I purged. I had this beautiful tie-dyed A-line dress that I'd wear to do housework. And I mean, she was oblivious to everything at that point. But one day I come down in that, she points at me and starts laughing like a hyena. And I'm like, oh, no, no. And I ended up purging for the last time. We ended up moving down here. Diane passed away a couple of years ago. And this is where the journey really begins. I took care of everything that I had to take care of with her. And I sit outside every morning. We have a little porch in the front. And I sit out there, usually have a cup of coffee and, meditate, say a prayer, listen to the birds wake up. And it was several weeks after she passed. And the thought came to me, what do I do now? And then a couple of days later, I had another thought, who are you? What would make you happy? What have you missed in life? And I started thinking about it, and transitioning was it. I thought I was out of my mind. I was 67 years old. I didn't think I could do it. But I did a lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of YouTube videos. I said, you know what? Let me just talk to a therapist. I lined up an appointment with a therapist on January 6th of 2021. I had my first appointment. And what can I do for you? Am I crazy? And God bless her. She was a lovely person and all like that, and really walked me through something by having me answer my own questions and all. And you know what? This was the way to go. And since that point, I haven't looked back. I started taking hormones the end of March of that year. My life has changed. The coming out was a little odd. It was the first several people was being challenged by my therapist only because I opened my mouth. And and the first person I came out to was somebody I knew in northern New Jersey, a gay male who I knew would be safe. And it went great. This gentleman, Bill, and I, we still talk about once a week on the telephone. He's a friend, and I can count on him. The second person was Fast Johnny. Fast Johnny knew. I told him I was going to see a therapist. I didn't tell him why, but I did. About a month and a half into it, I called him up one night, told him, hey, look, this is why I'm doing this, And he listened to me, and all he said to me was, look, I don't understand it. I probably never would understand it, but I can hear in your voice how happy you are, and I'll support you to the end. And, that's all I needed to hear. The next person was my mother. That was actually by accident. It was just before I had an appointment to start hormones. And I said, hey, look, I got a doctor's appointment on Tuesday. I got to go to Orlando. Why? Why Orlando? What's wrong? We were actually in the car, and I said, wait till we get home. And, I got home and I told her exactly where I was at, how I felt and all. And she basically said, you're my child. I love you, and I'll always love you and support you. She wasn't ready for this. As it became more and more of a reality, one night I was going out to Bonifay. I had a skirt on, and she was like, you're not going out dressed like that, are you? And I said, yeah. And she said, well, why can't you dress like any other gay male? And, well, Mom, I'm not really gay, I don't know what I am, but I'm happy doing this and all. The next would be my children. Now, I had an opportunity Memorial Day weekend to come out to them, but it was at my niece's wedding. And I thought better of it. And I can't do this. The next time we're together, I'll take care of this. I went through the summer. I ended up going up north for Thanksgiving last year. It was a year ago now. My kids both knew that I had something to talk to them about. And, they both had the same exact reaction. And that wasn't expecting this. But they love me and they both said they'd support me. And, another blessing I have in life. And then I had brothers to come out to, and, and when I was sitting thinking about it, there was really only 6 people that I was concerned how they would react. And it was my 3 brothers, my 2 children, and my mom. So I was batting 1,000. This has been an extraordinary thing. I do everything in little tiny increments, but I am so at peace with myself, and I'm confident. And I have a lot of people comment about how I'm always happy, and it's because I am. There are bumps in life and all like that, but like my father used to say to me, we can only get one ride on this merry-go-round, make the best of it. And that's what I'm trying to do. I am, like I said, I've been in AA for 8.5 years. I am presently very involved with transgendered people in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I know people across the country, Canada, all over the world, people from Europe, Australia, and everything. And, it's just great to share our stories with one another and give each other hope. I've been blessed with AA. I found the solution where, I am confident with myself. I know what will happen if I pick up, and that's what keeps me away. But I feel like I have to help wherever I can. It's just wonderful to have the privilege to be able to reach out to other people, sharing my experience, strength, and hope, not telling them what to do, just giving them hope and watching them grow as they go along. I just had a call yesterday from somebody I know who's actually in Europe touring with a band. And, this person's only been around for 9 months, but really gets it. And it's just so heartwarming and all. But anyhow, I am happy. I am grateful to be here. And a little bit about the Transgender Day of Remembrance. There was a woman in Alston, Massachusetts, a trans woman named Rita Hester, who was slain back in 1998, November of 1998. I believe it was the 26th. And this originally started as a vigil for her by a woman named Gwendolyn Ann Smith. And I haven't read anything, but I'm trying to think of this logically, and I figured that they moved it back to the 20th so they don't get involved with the Thanksgiving holiday. They can get it just before, and it's great. Actually, the DeLand thing was mentioned before, but there's also one in Orlando at 3 o'clock. So it's even growing in this area, and it's this year 47 people were slain just for being who they are. And like Bruce says, it's 47 way too many. But hopefully we can get to a point where there's 0. I don't know how to do that, but pray, get involved with your communities and all like that. There are several options. Trans Equity in Florida, they have a website. They'll keep you informed about pending legislation that's coming up. They're taking this collection today for the Fitz Lane project. They happen to be people I know that I've met along the way. And what they do is they provide therapy, 13 hours of therapy for youth between the ages of 13 and 25. Presently, they're only in 3 counties down in the Tampa area, but they have a drive going on right now that if they hit a certain goal, they're going to go statewide, which is necessary. I couldn't have done this, without AA and without therapy and the support of these people here, who I consider friends. And I can't thank you enough for what you've done for me. It's been a great journey, and it's been great to have you as part of it. And once again, thanks for having me here today. And enjoy this day. Every day is a gift, and that's what we need to do, is enjoy it. Thanks for letting me share that.
And now if you will join me in saying our congregational covenant. It will be on the screens. Love is the spirit of this church, and through service we live our principles. This is our great covenant, to live to peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. It is our practice to give generously to our church, keeping in mind both its importance in our lives and its impact on the world. You can donate to UUCLC online or in the wooden box out in the narthex. Today, we are also collecting for the Fitz Lane project, which Katie just told you about. And if you wish to give to that, you can put those donations in the black box that is labeled Welcoming Congregation. If you write a check, you need to make it out to UUCLC and then put Welcoming Congregation in the memo line. Our donations can make a big difference to a child struggling with their gender identity, especially in this state. Thank you for your donations today. Our first hymn today is hymn 205, Amazing Grace, in the gray hymnal, and the words will also be on the screen. And we'll be singing verses 1, 2, and 3. So if you'll rise, if you're willing and able, and let's sing. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace, I talk to Jesus Christ. How precious the stone that raises up the hour of first healing. Jesus chose and
You may be seated.
This is the part we're gonna do a little memorial to the transgender community who have died this past year. Just a few facts before I start. There were 47 people murdered for just being who they are. 7 in Texas, 5 in Florida, 4 in Michigan, 4 in Pennsylvania, 3 in California, and 3 in Wisconsin. 30 were Black. That represents 75%. Latinos was 6, Indigenous was 1, and 8 were white. There were 40 trans women, 5 trans men, 1 non-binary, and 1 two-spirit. And the last fact I want to say is 31 died from gun violence. Okay. First is Nakai David, 33, a woman of color from Oakland, California. Martina Caldera, 38, a woman of color from Channelview, Texas. Zanaya Williams, 21, a woman of color from Houston, Texas. Keohana Stone, 32, a woman of color from Indianapolis, Indiana. Nikki Turrieta, 31, from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Amare Lej, 21, a woman of color from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Duval Princess, 24, a woman of color, shot to death in her car in Jacksonville, Florida. Matthew Spampinato, 21, a trans man from Newcastle, Delaware. Actually, Matthew was walking home from work and was plowed down by a hit-and-run driver. Naomi Skinner, 25, a woman of color from Highland Park, Michigan. Cypress Ramos, 21, a woman of color from Lubbock, Texas. Paloma Vasquez, 29, a woman of color from Houston, Texas. Tatiana LaBelle, 33, a woman of color from Chicago. Catherine Katie Newhouse, 19, a Filipina from Cherokee County, Georgia. Kesta Webster, 24, a woman of color from Jackson, Mississippi. Mia Love Parker, 25, a woman of color from Chester, Pennsylvania. Fern Feather, 29, from Morristown, Vermont. Ariana Mitchell, 17, a woman of color from Hampton, Virginia. Ray Muscat, 26, a trans man, Oakland County, Michigan. Sasha Mason, 45, a Latina from Zebulon, North Carolina. Nedva Sequence Morris, 50, shot in the head and dumped on the street, Opelika, Florida. Maddie Hoffman, 47 years old, a woman of color from Malvern, Pennsylvania. Shanilia Yella Dior Hemingway, 30, a woman of color from Albany, New York. Brazil Johnson, 28, a woman of color from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Shemaine Giselle Marie McClam, a woman of color from Gulfport, Mississippi. Kitty Monroe, a woman of color from Cordova, Texas. Cherry Bush, 48, Los Angeles, California. Jasper Aaron Lynch, a 26-year-old trans man from McLean, Virginia. Mortasia Richmond, 30, a woman of color from Chicago, Illinois. Candy Red, 29, a woman of color from Kansas City, Missouri. Hayden Davis, 28, a woman of color from Detroit, Michigan. A.C.D. Morrison, a member of the Lakota tribe, Rapid City, South Dakota. Dee Dee Ricks, 33, a woman of color, Detroit, Michigan. Regina Meyer Allen, 35, a woman of color, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Shimon Billings Leah, 33, a Black trans man shot to death, Jacksonville, Florida. A. Scott, 15 years old, a Black trans boy, Kansas City, Missouri. Angel Nera, 36, woman of color, Alquipa, Pennsylvania. Brent Wood, 31 years old, non-binary, Seattle, Washington. Danielle Johnson, 35, a woman of color, Memphis, Tennessee. Dee Dee Hall, 47, a woman of color, Dallas, Texas. Jenny DeLeon, 25, a Latina from Sulphur Springs, Florida. Keisha Chanel Eder, 26, a woman of color, South Carolina. Maricela Castro, 39, Latina from Houston, Texas. Marikisha Lawrence, 28, a woman of color, Greenville, South Carolina. Paris Rich, 25, a woman of color, San Diego, California. Princess, a 24-year-old trans woman from Houston, Texas. Tiffany Banks, 25 years old, a woman of color from Miami, Florida. Toy Davis, 34, a woman of color, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This list is incomplete, though. This is everybody that we know of. There are plenty of people who are killed and are misgendered and misnamed and are just swept under the rug. And, there was 70 last year, 47 this year, but like Bruce says, it's one too many, and let's hope if we gather again next year that the list is even shorter, and hopefully there'll be no need to do this anymore. Thanks for letting me share.
We will now sing hymn 169, We Shall Overcome. We'll be singing 4 verses. So let's hope we can overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Okay. Katie will extinguish our chalice. Take that up too. Lighting a candle is somewhat like the beginning of life. If that is true, then perhaps extinguishing a candle is like the ending of life. But death may not be the end of those we remembered today. They live on in the memories of friends and loved ones. The influence they possessed in life works on, moving persons and causes forward. May you all feel welcome and safe. We're going to finish with hymn 170. We are a gentle, angry people, and this originated in San Francisco during the Harvey Milk's era. So we'll be seeing several verses, so follow the screens because we have an original verse too for today. We are gentle, angry people, and we are singing for God. We are gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives, justice seeking. We are justice seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are justice seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. Gay and straight together. We are gay and straight together. And we are singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together. Trans and cis together. We are trans and cis together. Singing for our lives. We are trans and cis together. We are singing for our lives. We are gentle and brave people, and we are singing for our lives. We are gentle and brave people, and we are singing for our lives. Please remember to put your donations in the Fitz Lane Project box in the back. Our service is over, so let our welcoming work begin. You can join us in the social hall after for questions. And Katie and Bruce will be there to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.